Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome back to North Country Off Grid. Today we're going to talk about preparing something that no one really talks about. Talking about mental preparation as people are being put on lockdown. I think the majority of people are assuming this thing is going to end. And the reason for that is that the White House has told us that we're going to be locked down for just a few weeks. And then that's turned to almost a month. That seems to have no stopping point. I believe that we're going to be locked down for extended periods of time. And that's something you need to wrap your mind around now and kind of be ready for it. And you're better to prepare for it mentally now, assuming that you're going to be locked down for months and not having to spend months in lockdown versus expecting yourself to be locked down for a couple of weeks and spending months in lockdown. So for many people, it's not an issue. I know a lot of you guys are on farms or live in the country, and it's just not an issue to be locked down. It's where we prefer to be honest with you. But many of you guys are in apartments or in houses in small areas, and you're not supposed to leave. And we're seeing an increasing number of enforcement taking place. You know, we saw the guy in California who was boogie boarding by himself out in the ocean around nobody, and he got arrested for it. We saw a father and daughter in a park playing catch, and the father got arrested for it. So even as we are social distancing during this quarantine and we're making good decisions to stay away from people, we are still being negatively affected by law enforcement in these cases. I would expect that kind of stuff to increase. As we saw in the video that I shared with you guys, we kind of got a warning from that deputy, and he let us know the mindset of where they were at, that it was going to increasingly be enforced, that they were not going to allow people to just be out and about. So just a warning for you guys, mentally prepare yourself, really think about down the line and just start to accept the fact that you might be on lockdown, we might be in quarantine for months. We're starting to get a lot of projections right now in the media, and the professionals are talking about how long we may or may not be in lockdown. And right now everyone wants to come out of quarantine, and they're speculating that if we come out of quarantine now, we could be leading into a second round of the virus. So it's looking a lot like extended quarantine, guys. If you're reading between the lines, I don't think they're gonna just tell everyone they can come on out and play. They're gonna try and play it safe, and they're gonna make sure that with whatever their plan is now, they're going to continue to implement it so that there's no chance of all the work that we've put into staying home, staying away from people, being for nothing because we just come out too early and then everyone, infects everybody else. And I know many of you don't even think that the virus is real, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the quarantine issue of it. So I think that it's important to understand that we are going to be quarantined for a while. We are going to be locked down for a while, and you're going to see more and more implementation of people's ways of dealing with quarantine. When you walk into the stores, the Walmarts, they've shut it down to one entrance, so everyone enters through the same opening, and then they tell you, stay distant from each other. They're setting up the lines, and you're seeing the screens in front of the tellers and stuff. It's definitely changing our world as we continue down this road. And that's something that you need to mentally prepare for, because your world is changing. Everything that we're used to seeing, the surroundings, they become new surroundings. The events are new events, and you have to mentally prepare for those new things. You might not have ever been stopped by law enforcement before. You might be driving down the road and broke no law, but you get stopped by law enforcement. You need to mentally prepare for something like that. For many people, I remember my first ticket, seeing those lights behind you, get your heart racing. If you've gone your whole life without getting a ticket before or being pulled over, you need to prepare yourself for that moment. At that same time, in social distancing, if you roll your window down and there's an officer right there who is not practicing social distancing, you need to prepare yourself for how to handle that situation. So these are just little things to think about, guys. There have already been reports of a couple of suicides, people who just couldn't handle the social distancing already. And it's because we're such a social culture with social media and going out to events and going out and being around other people. It's what we do. And for many people, that's all that we do. So being reclusive and being held into your, your home or your apartment or your land or whatever, my advice to you guys is to put it to good use. Try to come up with things to keep you busy and try to do productive things. If you're sitting around binge watching shows day in and day out, that's not healthy for you. And if you wind up getting caught in months down the road and you look back and like, all I've been doing is watching videos, I could have been doing this, I could have been doing that. That's a lot of regret to deal with as well. So we have been trying to tell you guys, this goat won't shut up. We've been trying to tell you guys, God, goat, shut up. It's like take 5. These animals are starting to wake up. It's early in the morning, so they're just now getting up and making a bunch of noise for their babies. She's hollering at her baby that's standing right next to her. So farm life, guys, we are, we're up doing stuff, getting stuff done, planning, building, always doing stuff. And that's our lifestyle. We do that anyway. But for many of you guys who are stuck and looking for stuff to do, look for a skill, develop some sort of a skill at the time that you might need it. Maybe learn to bake, hang out in the kitchen with the family. And really do work with the family, guys. This is an excellent time that we have all just sort of been brought back to the home to really be able to work on the family. Unplug the TV and do stuff with your family. Even if it's a family game night or a project you work on, force them to go out and build your garden, right? I mean, isn't that why you have kids, right? Help you build the garden? But it's a weird time, guys, and apparently some people aren't handling it mentally yet. They're not doing well with it. So look out for your neighbors, look out for friends and family. Try to come up with ways that you can positively spend your day getting stuff done. And that is the point, is to get stuff done. Right now we have estimated over 10 million people out of work. That's a lot of people sitting at home looking for stuff to do. And it's completely out of the norm. Completely, that world has changed. And so with that, the mindset has to change. And so you have to be prepared mentally, guys, for these extended lockdowns. I don't know how long the lockdowns are going to last. And if I don't know how long the lockdowns are going to last, then that means you haven't been given an answer either. So some people are just assuming we're going back to work here in just a week. Others are like, we're not going back to work. This is going to be a while. I saw some projections in an article last night that I was reading, and they were talking about possibly not even opening up like sports events until almost mid-fall. That's something we're not used to either. We're used to our season starting, and that means we're used to our sports starting. Sports culture in America is very big. What happens if the NFL does not fire up this year? What happens if your favorite team does not play this year? What happens if that goat disappears during this video? All right, guys, I'm not going to go into this too much. So be prepared, mentally prepared. And mentally prepared means just thinking about the worst case scenarios, thinking about the long-term situation, how long we could possibly be in lockdown. Prepare for the unknown, guys. Keep your minds right, keep your mind and body busy. Don't waste months. Don't get months into this thing and then realize you've wasted it doing nothing. Do something productive. Go help a neighbor. Social distance your neighbor. Help a family member. Help a friend. Do something. But prepare. Keep your mind strong. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. baby goats jumping around everywhere.